The night presses in around you, doesn't it? That suffocating weight of expectation, the way it seeps into your skin like cold rain. You feel it, the tension coiled tight beneath your ribs, the itch at the back of your skull that whispers louder than any voice ever could. They're out there, aren't they? Watching, waiting. Not because they care about what happens to you, but because they want to see how far they can push before you snap. And oh, how they love the spectacle. The cracks in your armor, the tremors in your hands when you think no one's looking, they feed on that. Every twitch, every flinch, every second, you let their words sink deeper into your bone set, all becomes fuel for their fire. But here's the thing, this isn't about them. No matter how much noise they make, no matter how sharp their knives or cruel their smiles, this is not their game unless you allow it to be. What they don't understand and what you must is that control isn't something they can take from you unless you hand it over willingly. Control isn't loud, it's quiet, it's deliberate. It's knowing exactly where the line is and choosing not to cross it, not yet, anyway. Because crossing that line too soon means playing by their rules, and their rules are designed to break you. So tell me, do you hear them now? Their laughter cutting through the silence like shards of glass, their whispers slithering across the room like snakes searching for prey. Do you feel the heat rising in your chest, the urge to scream back, to prove them wrong, to show them just how wrong they are? Good, let it burn, but don't act on it. Not yet. Because anger isn't strength, it's a tool. And tools are only useful if wielded correctly. Anger unchecked is chaos, and chaos is exactly what they want. They thrive on it, they need it. Without it, they have nothing. Think about it. Who are these people, really? What makes them so special that you'd give them the satisfaction of seeing you unravel? Are they stronger than you, smarter, more capable, or are they just better at pretending, at wearing masks that hide the emptiness inside? Look closer. Beneath those smirks and sneers, beneath the bravado and the calculated cruelty, there's nothing. A void. A hollow space where substance should be. They project their insecurities onto you because they can't face their own. They attack because they're afraid. Afraid of being seen for who they truly are. Afraid of being irrelevant. And the moment they sense weakness in you, they pounce not because they're brave, but because they're desperate. And you? What are you? Are you weak? Are you fragile? Is that what they've convinced you of? Oh, then why are you still standing? Why haven't you crumbled under the weight of their words, their schemes, their endless attempts to drag you down? Maybe it's because deep down you know the truth. You've always known. You weren't built to stay small. You weren't meant to fade into the background while they take center stage. There's something inside you, a spark, a flame that refuses to die, no matter how many times they try to extinguish it. And that terrifies them. It terrifies them more than anything else because they can't control what they don't understand. Let them talk. Let them plot. Let them believe they're winning. Because the beauty of this, of everything is that perception isn't reality. Just because they think they've got you figured out doesn't mean they're right. In fact, it means quite the opposite. The more confident they become in their assumptions, the less prepared they'll be for the truth. And the truth is simple. You're not playing their game, you're rewriting the rules. You're building something bigger, stronger, untouchable. Something they'll never comprehend, let alone replicate. Do you remember the first time they tried to break you? The sting of betrayal, the shock of rejection, the raw ache of realizing that someone you trusted had turned against you? Of course you do. Those moments leave scars, marks etched into your soul that remind you of where you've been and what you've survived. But scars aren't weaknesses, they're proof. Proof that you endured. Proof that you adapted. Proof that you became something greater than whatever pain they tried to inflict upon you. And every time they come after you again with their lies, their manipulations, their petty little games, they're adding another layer to that foundation. Another brick in the wall you're building between yourself and their toxicity. They don't see it though. How could they? They're too busy chasing shadows, trying to convince themselves that they're invincible, that they hold all the cards. Meanwhile, you're sitting quietly in the corner, watching, waiting, biding your time. You're learning their patterns, their tells, the subtle shifts in their behavior that betray their intentions. You're studying them the way a predator studies its prey, memorizing every detail so that when the moment comes, you'll know exactly how to strike. Not with rage, not with desperation, with precision, with purpose. Because revenge isn't sweet, it's empty. Petty victories, fleeting triumphs, proving someone wrong just to watch them squirm, it's all meaningless in the grand scheme of things. True power doesn't come from tearing others down. It comes from rising above them, from becoming something they can never reach, no matter how hard they try. Imagine the look on their faces when they finally realize that all their efforts, all their schemes, all their attempts to hold you back have only made you stronger. Imagine the silence that follows when they understand that they've lost not because you defeated them, but because they were never even in the race to begin with. But getting there requires patience, discipline, sacrifice. It means swallowing your pride when they mock you, biting your tongue when they insult you, walking away when every fiber of your being screams to fight back. It means letting them underestimate you, letting them believe they've won, even as you work tirelessly behind the scenes to build something they'll never be able to touch. It means embracing discomfort, leaning into pain, and using it as fuel instead of letting it consume you. Most people can't do that. They fold under pressure. They crumble when faced with adversity. They give up the moment things get hard. But you're different, aren't you? You're here, reading this, listening, absorbing. That alone sets you apart. The fact that you're willing to confront the darkness within yourself, to stare it down and say, not today, proves that you're capable of more than they'll ever be. Capable of surviving, thriving, rising, And the best part? They'll never see it coming. Because while they're busy sharpening their knives, crafting their lies, plotting their next move, you'll be doing the exact opposite. You'll be staying silent, still, unshaken, letting them believe they've broken you while you rebuild yourself into something unstoppable. It won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when the voices in your head grow louder than the ones outside, when the temptation to lash out becomes almost too much to resist. On those days, remember this: pain is temporary, growth is permanent. Every setback, every failure, every loss, it's all part of the process. It's all shaping you into the person you're meant to become. So embrace it, own it, use it, turn it into strength, into resilience, into power. And when the time comes, and it will come, you won't need to explain yourself. You won't need to justify your existence to anyone. You won't need their approval, their validation, their recognition. Because by then, you'll have transcended them. You'll have moved beyond their reach, their influence, their ability to affect you. They'll still be stuck in the same cycle of pettiness and self-destruction, while you'll be soaring higher than they ever dreamed possible, and that is the ultimate victory. They're expecting you to lose control, to break, to fall apart, to give them the satisfaction of seeing you reduced to rubble. Don't. Stay unshaken, stay focused, stay relentless. Because the moment you stop needing them, the moment you stop caring about their opinions, their judgments, their twisted little games, they cease to exist. They fade into the background, mere echoes of a past that no longer holds any power over you. And you keep moving forward. Keep becoming. Because in the end, it's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about standing tall in the face of chaos and refusing to flinch. It's about taking every ounce of pain, every drop of suffering, every shred of doubt, and transforming it into something beautiful, something unbreakable, something immortal. And when you finally reach the top, when you finally look down and see the world spread out before you, you won't even recognize the people who once tried to hold you back. Their names will blur together, their faces will fade, their voices will disappear. All that will remain is you, standing tall, untouchable, unstoppable. So tell me, are you ready? Ready to rise above the noise, the nonsense, the toxicity? Ready to leave them behind, to step into the light and claim the life you were always meant to live? Or are you going to let them win? Let them define you. Let them dictate your story. The choice is yours, but choose wisely, because once you commit, there's no turning back. Once you decide to rise, you rise forever, and they become nothing. You hesitate for a moment, don't you? The weight of it all pressing against your ribs, the lingering doubt creeping in like a slow-moving tide. You wonder if you have the strength to keep going, if the fire inside you is truly enough to burn through the darkness. But listen, doubt is the weapon they want you to use against yourself. It is not yours. It never was. It was planted there, watered by whispers, nurtured by the weight of their expectations. And yet, it is also the easiest thing to destroy. One choice, one decision. That's all it takes to uproot it. So, make the choice, right here, right now. Because the moment you decide to stop being a prisoner to their perceptions, you become unstoppable. They built a cage for you out of their judgments, their assumptions, their twisted little narratives, but the lock has been open all along. You only stayed because you thought you had to. Because they convinced you that the world outside their approval was barren, cold, unforgiving. But tell me, has their approval ever brought you peace? Has it ever been anything more than a leash around your throat, pulling you back the moment you tried to run? Number. It was never meant to set you free. It was meant to keep you tame. But you were never meant to be tame. They want you predictable. They want you fragile. They want you so caught up in defending yourself that you never realize you don't have to. That you never owed them an explanation in the first place. Let them misunderstand you. Let them twist your words, paint you as the villain in their story. Whisper your name like a curse among their kind. It does not matter. Their version of you is not your responsibility. Their lies do not shape your reality. And the more they talk, the more obvious their desperation becomes. Think about it. Why do they care so much? Why do they watch so closely? If you were truly as insignificant as they claim, why waste their breath? Why sharpen their knives? Why build entire conversations around dissecting your every move? Because deep down, they know. They see something in you that terrifies them. Something they can't quite name, can't quite grasp, but feel in their bones every time you refuse to break. So, let them waste their energy. Let them drown in their obsession while you rise in silence. Let them mock. Let them jeer. Let them believe they are winning while you build something beyond their comprehension. The greatest revenge is not proving them wrong, it's making them irrelevant. It's reaching a place where their words don't reach you, where their presence doesn't even register in your world. And that place, it's closer than you think. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you take another step toward it. Every time you walk away from their provocations, you strip them of their power. Every time you focus on yourself instead of them, you widen the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. It's slow, it's painful, but it's necessary, because becoming untouchable is not about arrogance. It's about mastery. It's about refusing to be controlled by anything outside yourself. And they will notice. oh, they will notice. They'll sense the shift in the way you carry yourself, the way your eyes no longer flicker with the same uncertainty, the way your silence is no longer submission but choice, and it will shake them. It will unnerve them more than any retaliation ever could, because they were ready for your anger, expecting your fury, prepared to feed off your frustration. But this quiet certainty, this unwavering composure, they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to fight someone who refuses to fight back on their terms. So they will escalate, they will test you, they will push harder, hoping to find a crack, a weak spot, a moment where your restraint slips. Do not give it to them. Stand firm, hold your ground. Because the longer you remain unshaken, the more frantic they will become. And when they finally falter, when their carefully constructed facade begins to crack, you will understand the truth you were never meant to see. They were never strong to begin with. Their power was an illusion, propped up by your reactions, fueled by your attention. Without it, they wither. Without it, they become exactly what they always feared, irrelevant. And you become free. And what does freedom feel like? It is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not seek revenge, nor does it demand validation. It is a quiet kind of power, one that does not need to be flaunted to exist. It is the ability to walk away without looking back, to build without needing applause, to succeed without needing an audience. It is knowing that you are enough, not because they said so, but because you decided so. And once you taste it, truly taste it, you will wonder how you ever lived without it. You will look back at the days spent tangled in their opinions, drowning in their judgments, and you will laugh. Not out of bitterness, not out of spite, but because you will finally see how small they always were, how small their world was, and how much bigger yours has become. So ask yourself, why waste another second playing by rules that were never meant to serve you? Why give them another moment of your energy, your thoughts, your life? You are standing at the edge of something greater, something vast and limitless. The only thing left to do is step forward. And once you make that choice, once you take that step, there is no going back. You rise, you transcend, you become untouchable, and they become nothing more than a footnote in your story, a lesson learned, a reminder of what you will never be again. So go forward and never look back. But here's the catch: freedom comes with a cost. It demands that you let go of the version of yourself that needed their approval, the one who flinched at every insult, who bent beneath the weight of their expectations. That version of you must die for the real you to emerge. And that death, it will be painful. Because even when chains are broken, the ghost of them lingers. Even when you step beyond the cage, the memory of confinement remains. But you cannot build something new while clinging to the old. You cannot ascend while carrying dead weight, so let it go. All of it. The bitterness, the resentment, the need to be understood by people who were never capable of seeing you in the first place. Because holding on to it only chains you to them, keeping you tethered to a past that has nothing left to offer. And you know it, don't you? You've always known. That's why their words don't cut as deep anymore. That's why their games feel tired, repetitive, almost pathetic. You're already outgrowing them, even if you haven't fully stepped away. But you will. Because this path, it only moves forward. And that forward motion, that quiet, steady evolution, it will terrify them. They will try to pull you back. Not because they miss you, not because they care, but because your growth is an unbearable mirror, reflecting everything they refuse to become. They will claim you've changed, as if change is a crime. They will say you're different, as if you were meant to stay the same. And maybe, in some small way, they believe that. Maybe they truly think you were supposed to remain in the same place, caught in the same cycles, bound by the same invisible chains. But you were never meant to be stagnant. So let them talk. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've lost yourself. Let them spin whatever story they need to sleep at night. Their words are nothing but echoes, bouncing off walls you've already torn down. What matters is the road ahead. What matters is the fire in your chest, the hunger in your soul, the vision that pulls you forward, no matter how hard they try to drag you back. And here's the best part, you don't need to fight them. You don't need to prove anything. Just keep going. Just keep building. Just keep moving toward the version of yourself that doesn't flinch, doesn't waver, doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. Because the moment you fully embrace that person, the moment you step into that power, you will see it clearly. They were never your equals. They were simply shadows in a story that was never about them. And you were always destined for more. And when that realization fully sinks in, when you understand, truly understand, that they were never meant to walk this path with you, something inside you shifts. The weight lifts, the noise quiets. The war you've been fighting, not just against them, but within yourself, starts to fade. Because this was never about winning against them. It was about freeing yourself from the need to win at all. Think about it. How much time have you spent looking over your shoulder, waiting for their next move, preparing for the next attack? How many nights have you lost to replaying their words, to imagining comebacks that will never be spoken? How much of your energy has been spent reacting instead of creating? Too much, far too much. And now, you take it back, not with vengeance, not with hatred, but with indifference, with the quiet, unshakable certainty that their presence in your life was never essential, that their absence does not leave a hole, it creates space. Space for something greater, space for something real, So let them think they've won. Let them celebrate their imagined victories, oblivious to the fact that you are already miles ahead, that you have transcended the battlefield entirely. Let them believe whatever they need to believe, because you have better things to do, bigger things to build. And when they finally look up, expecting to find you where they left you, they will see nothing but empty space. Because you are gone, and you are never looking back.